Hello, everybody. It's Oklasoda Gal, aka your Thunder Auntie Brittany, here today with my co-host, as always, your Thunder Auntie Paula. How are you, Paula?
Hello, Britt. How are you this week?
I'm cold again. My our little spring warm up we had last week is over. It's 23 degrees and snowing again. I think
You had fake spring.
I think my husband gets to shovel the driveway today. I might go help him later.
That would be very generous of you. It's beautiful here today. It's not noisy like it was the other night, but that is spring in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I saw you had a
But at
tomato
least
siren.
a tomato siren. I was so distracted. My dog, so they do the tornado siren every Saturday. And as just, warning testing, and my dog sings along to it every time. So the night when we were having all of those storms and the tornado sirens were going off, the first one that went off, he started singing when I'm typing, and I put in tomato siren instead of tornado siren. So, but we were in the red zone, so it kind of was fitting. So
I thought it
after
was
after about
fun.
after about five of them, he was like, "I'm done singing. Like I'm over it now."
One
I
of
was like,
my
"So my bud."
one of my earliest memories as a little kid, I was maybe 5 years old, living in Oklahoma City, out on the porch one morning. It was a Saturday, and the new NATO siren test came on. I was not expecting it,
Oh,
and I think we lived maybe like a block away from the actual siren thing,
oh
and it was
gosh, it had to be
so
loud.
loud. It scared me to death. I
I
went running
bet.
inside like, Mom, what's going on? Oh my gosh.
I can absolutely picture that because when you're young or you don't know. The
It's
only
a
thing I was
scary
glad about
sound. Like it is
it
meant to
is,
like tell you danger. Like,
and it winds up because it goes, ooh,
yeah.
as
So,
opposed to just a sharp, woo. Sorry, there.
woo. We did a lot of woo during some Thunder games this past week, though.
Oh my gosh, there was so much energy this week, and the games were so good and so close.
Yeah, all of them were
And
pretty close games. Like the only one that like wasn't a one possession game was against the Warriors, and even that was only a 7 point game.
well, and it was close for some of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a complete wire to wire. So,
No, that was a good game, tight game. The Warriors without a lot of their star power. I gotta give them credit. They hung in there. They played hard. That team's sneaky good in some ways. They're just, they lack the consistency that a team like the Thunder can bring, but uh,
consistency, you say?
consistency.
I feel like we're going to hear that word a lot later in this pod.
I think so. It might end up getting into the title some way. But
But
3
no,
and 0 on the week.
it was it was a great week to watch. Even when it was close, like we knew some of these games were going to be really tight. Like we just anticipated, especially the Celtics. Of course, I think we were planning on Jason playing.
Yeah, like literally, like I record my pregame preview and make the statement that, oh, I think he'll probably play. He's listed as questionable, but they did it wasn't a back to back, so I thought they'd probably play him. It was national TV.
Hmm.
And then, like 10 minutes after I put up the video, the injury report gets updated and he was downgraded to out.
Can't wait to see what we miss in this time. So no, but I had somebody tell me that I guess he took a couple of pretty hard hits in the game before ours.
Okay.
And right, that's what I said. I was like, okay, so I know they want to manage him anyway, but if he did take a couple of hits, then yeah, that makes more sense.
That does. I mean, I think they're gonna try and play him as much as they can down the stretch because they've got to integrate him back in. This is a team that
Yeah.
even without him in the lineup in a year that, you know, initially looked like it might be kind of a rebuild year for them,
Hmm.
Jaylen Brown led them to, second in the East. Like, so he's
Yeah.
now got to integrate in.
He's really led that team while Jason's been down. I think we were talking about the fact of, incorporating Jason back in. They're going to have to find a balance because Jalen has taken such a leadership role, point role on this.
Yeah.
And I know they won the two games when Jason was back, but I think they're still going to have to find a balance between them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw it last year with incorporating Chet back into the lineup after he had missed half a season.
Hmm.
That no matter how good you are, no matter how good the team is, you add a player with that much gravity back into the rotation, and it takes some time for everybody to reconfigure their roles and get, more used to that lineup again.
That's one of the things I'm really, aside from wanting him to be healthy, do not get me wrong. It's like I want J-Dub back because he's missed so much this season from the beginning, and then he was getting back into it, and then part of the ramp up, and then the hammy issue. It's like I want him gelled back in going into the playoffs. Not to say that our lineups have not been good and that we've done outstanding things with them, but he is a key piece.
Oh yeah, I
And
mean, if
he
if
he
if your
just
goal is championship, you want J-Dub in that lineup.
yes.
Like he proved in the playoffs last year. He was a playoff riser. He rose to the occasion. He made big plays and big moments. Took a little bit of that off of Shea's shoulders, so it didn't all
Hmm.
just fall on Shea. And that's so important in those 7 game series because there's gonna be games in a 7 game series where one of those guys maybe doesn't have it, and
Yeah, that's
you're gonna
true.
need the other one to step up. So, we want Jason Tatum back for the Celtics. We want him
Hmm.
getting into his role. We want J-Dub back for us, because ultimately we're fans. We want to see
Hmm.
the best playing the best. So I
Yes.
welcome the other team getting whole as well. And
As we say, we never want to see a player go down. We never do, mostly. No, that's rough. I don't ever want anybody hurt. I never want
no,
anybody hurt. Um,
no.
and again, when you're playing the best, it brings out your best. Look at these Nuggets games.
Yeah.
When we're against the Nuggets, yeah, they get spicy, but we're playing hard completely against them because we know they're bringing it to us.
Yeah, and let's talk about that Nuggets game on that was Monday night. Uh
Yes.
so this was a kind of a light week with only 3 games in the 7 days. So it was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um
It's
that
nice
that
to be home games.
that Nuggets game though, what a performance we saw out of both Jokic and Shea, like the MVP 1 and 2 candidates going up against each other.
Yeah.
They clearly bring out the best in each other. It's clear to me too that, as much as the Nuggets hate the Thunder in this rivalry, and this is absolutely our number one rivalry right now,
Yeah.
um, Jokic does have a lot of respect for Shea and the Thunder.
Oh,
And
he does. He
and he
does.
he was asked, after the game about Shea's 20-point streak since Monday night was when he tied Wilt at 126. And even Jokic was like, look, man, like getting 20 points, in 10 consecutive games is hard. Like, let alone
Yeah.
100 and something consecutive games. Like,
Completely. Like I can't think of anything I've done except nap 127 days in a row. I mean that, and even then, I'm sure I've missed some days. So it the respect is there. The competitiveness, is going to come, and it's going to bring out, you're going to try harder.
now it did bring out another play from Dort that was questionable. Dort
Yes.
once again, though, did admit after the fact, hey, I went a little far again, shouldn't have done that. So, Dort is interesting in that I think other teams are starting to treat him a little more like a Dylan Brooks-ish kind of villain. But
Mm-hmm.
unlike those like Dylan Brooks and Draymond Greens who were kind of like, yeah, what of it?
Mm-hmm.
Dort doesn't seem necessarily comfortable owning the villain role, and the Canadian
No.
side of him comes out and he's still apologetic about it.
But he has been playing very loosey-goosey with, I don't, again, I'm a girl that sits in a recliner and watches these games, but I feel like he's just playing, he's not as tight with his movements as he has been. So it feels like he's playing a looser movements. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't feel as focused as it has in previous seasons.
Yeah. Now you typically watch the home broadcast, right?
I do. I
So
do.
did you
That's
watch the Peacock broadcast on Monday or the home broadcast?
I watch the home broadcast.
Okay, so Austin Rivers on the Peacock broadcast, I thought he had a pretty good take about Dort that was pretty nuanced. And he was like, look, if you're as competitive as these guys are, you are looking for just little things that you can get away with that give you an edge over your an opponent.
Hmm.
And, Dort's no different. He's really competitive. He's out there looking for those little things that can give him an edge. And yeah, that kind of elbow all the way back around that ended up hitting Jokic in the face. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of dirty, but it's just a guy looking for an edge, trying to punish the guy who's trying to screen him, trying to maybe draw an illegal screen on him. He's like, I don't think it was dirty. Like, he wasn't intending to hurt Jokic with it. It was that he was
Hmm.
intending to draw some contact that might draw a whistle. And he was just looking for a competitive edge, and that's not villain behavior. It's just, pulling out every little stop and just trying to get that last little edge on your opponent. And so I really appreciated Austin Rivers speaking up, and because he's a recent NBA player. He was playing up
He's
until
had
like
some
last
really good
year.
takes. Really good. This has been a good step for Austin. I've really enjoyed listening because while I may not catch the broadcast, I will follow up with clips. And I really have liked his input on these things. And I think, the thing that I see with these players is yes, the momentum goes so fast and you can only control so much of your movements. Like I think he intended to go back, but it would have been an entirely different story if it had hit Jokic in the shoulder. Like if
Yeah,
it hadn't went above and it had just stopped at his shoulder, like it wouldn't have been an issue. But when you're down in a certain angle and you're going up, like it goes above the shoulder and there it's a flagrant,
yeah.
you know.
And it
So
deserved
I
the
think
flagrant. It
he
deserved it.
did. He did because it went, I mean, it went there.
Yep.
But I think some of the movement, but again, you can only control so much. So, but like you said, especially between these two teams, you're looking for just little cracks because they know each
Hmm.
other far too well.
Yeah, and then Shea, he went out, he went in with that attitude that like he was going to clinch the MVP again that night.
Yeah.
And wow, what a performance. Just clutch shot after clutch shot. ended up having to make two different game-winning step back threes in the last
Yeah,
minute of the
not just
game.
one, not just one. He thought he had it. It thought it was clinched, and then let's do it
Hello,
again.
4 point play.
Yeah,
And then Jokic, he was answering the bell too, like, oh, you're making threes to get ahead. I've got to go down and make a three to get us back in it. And he was
exactly.
step for step with him. And on that foul, though, that Jay Will got called for bowling over Jamal Murray, when they
Mm-hmm.
slowed it down, it was
Mm-hmm.
pretty clear to me that Jay Will actually made contact on Murray as Jokic was catching that pass. Now, they went and reviewed it and said, oh, he was in his upward motion before the foul. So they get to count the basket and get the free throw. But I think the refs gifted them that because when you slowed it down frame by frame, the contact of Jay Will hitting Murray that began the contact that became a foul
Mm-hmm.
was like as Jokic was catching, he was not yet in an upward motion. I think they very easily could have gone to the video and said foul was before the shot, two shots for Murray, three doesn't count because the foul came before the shot. They didn't, so and they ended up getting the 4 point play. Jamal Murray made the clutch free throw, which, he's had some issues making clutch free throws, so that was not a
Mm-hmm.
given. He did, and then, there was still plenty of time, though, for the Thunder to go back down and for Shea to do what Shea does.
Yeah. I would be interested to see the last 2 minute report on that one to see if they
Oh, I didn't
revise
even look at
themselves.
that. I
I
didn't
know.
even look at that.
Well, it's not, I mean, we won, so we don't always go back and
Yeah, no, no need to
only when we
gloat.
lose. By God, what was that shot? That was a wrong call. I'll acknowledge that. We have the W, like I'm like, okay, I agree with almost everything.
Yeah, I mean the calls are what they are.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, it's
no
not like you can change
officiating
them.
crew is perfect. No crew is ever gonna get everything exactly right. All you can hope for is that they're trying to be consistent.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything in these last few games that I felt that the officiating was super uneven to either side. So, I can live with it.
I hate that they pulled back that J Will shot last night,
Yeah.
but again, we got the W, so and it wouldn't change. I mean, these don't change anything. Once they're called and the buzzer sounds, like nothing can change. It's not like they can go back and go, "Oh, yeah, we're going to award it to Denver anyway."
I will
That doesn't.
say what's annoying is the narrative. The free throw narrative continues to annoy me. And
Yes.
Jaylen Brown played an amazing game last night. I had nothing but respect for the game he went out there and gave us last night. But then he goes into the post-game locker room interview and starts whining about the Thunder getting too many foul calls and too many trips to the free throw line. And I looked it up. Boston had like five more free throw attempts than the Thunder for the game, like 22 to 17. And of those 22, 14 of them were Jaylen Brown to only eight for SGA. And he complains about SGA foul baiting. But there was like, I distinctly recall when the Thunder were in the penalty in towards the end of one of the quarters, Jaylen Brown used the old KD rip move to intentionally draw a foul that a rule had to be put in place that you couldn't get free throws on that unless the other team was in the penalty because KD was so adept at it. And
They were calling it the Chris Paul swing through
I'm
on
like,
the local. They were like, he pulled out that Chris Paul move.
Like, are you serious? Like, you're
Hmm.
now complaining about officiating, Jalen? Get out of here.
I think that he was still a little feisty about those two Chet shots. I think it was recency bias with the 8/10 left,
You know
and
what? Refs hate making calls when there's like a second remaining. They hate to.
yeah.
But Chet got clobbered. He had the rebound, was trying
Hmm.
to go back up for the putback, and he got clobbered. Like
Yeah,
that was like a must call. Like if you don't call that, that's also affecting the outcome of the game.
that's true.
So, I
I
mean,
mean, we would have had free basketball.
if you don't want that call to happen, then don't foul.
My favorite was Chet was after, Nick was asking him, "What are you thinking when you're at the free throw line? The game, it's tied. What are you thinking?" He's like, "Don't miss them." I'm like, "Right. Don't miss them."
I actually kind of thought Chet might be good to miss the second one
Oh,
because Boston had a timeout left. You knew if you made it, they were going to call their timeout, get to inbound from half court,
hmm.
and be able to get a decent shot off. Whereas if he misses that free throw, that 8/10 of a second is eaten up as the guys are battling for the rebound.
So Coach Mark was actually asked about that
Okay.
in the post game. Chet did turn around and look at Coach Mark and say, should I clank it? And they told him no because they had a player. Is it Gate? Gate? I don't remember. They have a player that was out there that is amazing at rebounding. And so they decided that since he was out there, that he should go ahead and try for the second shot because if he gets it, they still have their timeout and they'll move the ball down and then it just becomes a defensive effort as opposed to putting a rebound potentially in their hands.
Right.
So he was very clear that Chet did consider that,
Okay.
but they told him no, and they wanted to make it just a pure defensive effort, and it worked for him.
That's fair. I think Kada is who you might be
Kata,
thinking of.
thank you.
Yep.
Sorry. That would
Didn't want
involve
to
me
interrupt
knowing
your
players on
flow.
other teams, and that just, I have enough with my 37 roster here. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but man, with 8/10 left, because the clock starts as soon as a person touches the ball trying to go for the rebound.
yeah,
So if there's any amount of battle, like if it just gets tipped up into the air off of somebody's finger, time is up. So
yeah.
if it were me, I probably would have said miss it. I'm not going to question Mark Daignault. He's won a championship. I have not. So I put my
That's
trust
fair. I
there.
mean, it's a, 6-1. It worked.
It worked. Obviously the other big story last night is something we kind of previewed and started talking about last week, and that's the streak. Um,
Yes.
127 games in a row now. The streak is all SGAs now. Wilt stopped at 126.
Hmm.
Now, Wilt stopped at 126 because he got ejected 4 minutes into the next game after that. So Shea, not like I don't see Shea being the kind of guy that's going to get ejected from a game. Um,
No, he might get a tech, rarely. But the interesting thing that I think about Wilt's record was the fact that he had what 96 before this one, so he was first and second.
he his 92 game streak,
92.
which was the second most before Shea,
Mm-hmm.
actually started right after that ejection. So like
Okay.
had he not had that ejection, his streak would have probably been like 200 and something.
Yeah, because there was only the one game between it.
Yeah.
And so I sit there and I think, and I'm like, it's not just 126 in the grand scheme of things. And that's why looking at Shea, people keep saying, well, how far can he go? How far can he take this record? And it's like everything's just icing now. He's only 27 and he's got years to go.
The one thing that's different, and I brought this up on threads from our threads account yesterday,
Hmm.
is so Wilt averaged 48.4 minutes a game, so more than a regulation game of minutes during
Yeah.
his 126 game streak.
Hmm.
Shea has averaged like 31 point something minutes during that same streak,
Yeah.
which actually makes what Shea's done even more unbelievable because,
Yeah.
he easily could have just sat a fourth quarter where he only had 18 points or something and not been able to get to this record just on some silly thing like that. He's just so consistent that he generally was hitting his 20 before he even needed to play in the fourth. So,
Yeah, because how many fourths has he sat?
right.
At least this season. At least this season.
Um,
So,
but what I could see happening down the stretch of this season is I would not be shocked if maybe in the last week of the season he plays maybe the first half of a game and then sits the entire second half and ends a game with like 17 or something. Because I think what you saw in the interview after the game is he made really clear, like, yeah, this record's cool and all, but like ultimately, if I'm not winning, then like it doesn't matter.
right,
And when he says winning, he doesn't just mean the individual game, like he means the championship. And
right.
if getting an extra half of rest before the playoffs will help him win that championship, he'll let this streak go in a second, I think.
Yeah, especially I think because he's broke it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was pretty
that's what I
clear
mean.
within the
Everything,
last couple months. There were a couple games he came back in the fourth just to get a bucket to get to
yeah.
20. I don't think he'll do that moving forward.
Last night was so funny watching him react to all of this. Like the memes, the videos. He's sitting on the bench and they've interrupted his flow of the game. Like they paused the game and he's sitting on a bench and he's literally like, and he's rolling his eyes. And it's not that he was dismissing it. It's like you're interrupting him. And it like me, when I'm hyper focused, you come in and you tap me on the shoulder. Like I'm so mad
Hmm.
because you've interrupted the flow. I'm not comparing myself to Shay. Maybe I am. Um, but you could just tell Shay was like, get me back on the court. Let's get this game going. Like we'll acknowledge this later. We've got a game, a very close 19 lead change game that we've got to wrap up. We've
I
still got playing to
noticed
do.
I noticed that Mark did not bring him back in after that timeout right away. He actually
No.
had him sit for a little bit. I think because he saw that he was upset about like the moment and kind of gave him a chance to like regather his thoughts before he
Yeah.
brought him back in. So that was an interesting coaching decision too that I think kind of went under the radar. But yeah, they called the timeout and everybody's cheering, the whole crowd's getting up. Chet's oblivious, like, why is everybody cheering?
What? He's like, is the game over? What?
Yeah, he admitted later, like, yeah, I didn't realize that he was at that basket, that was the one.
Well, Shay said that he did not know that basket, like he didn't know where his points were. Like he knew he was close. He knew he would get it. He just
Yeah.
didn't know when. And so he's like, when it went in and the crowd went up, he was like, oh, that must have been it. Uh, like he was just so in the zone that it was just, you know, the
Well, that's
numbers are not top of his head. It's
That's got to be a difficult
Go home.
position to be in as a player because you know everybody's watching for this moment. You know, like everybody's on pins and needles. Like you could tell the fans in the arena were like on pins and needles all night until the record happened.
Well, I was sitting there thinking, he didn't look great in the beginning. Like he looked out of sorts.
Three turnovers in the first quarter. Now he cleaned it up.
He
Four
did, but I
turnovers
was
for
sitting
the
there
game,
thinking,
so he only had one after that first quarter.
are the nerves getting to him? Which would be bizarre because, he's the coolest person in the arena. Like he just is chill with that. Like he's so focused.
It
And
wasn't
it
just
just
him though,
almost
because like the other guys' passes were all just kind of off. Like
No, but Shay acknowledged that he said he was playing like crap until he broke the record.
it's so funny. He's saying he's playing terrible. Meanwhile, Stan Van Gundy's on the broadcast saying like, reminding everybody watching, like, "Hey y'all, I know Shea makes this look really easy, but like I assure you, what he's doing is not easy."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then he got doused by everybody. He was not thrilled by that, but he put up with it because he's like, I'm gonna let the guys do this.
The funniest part of that is almost every one of them just had the little like cup of water. J-Dub comes with like the full 20-ounce water bottle and just keeps pouring.
Jay Will came back with a second bottle, and I'm like, do you guys not see Shay's? But it's one of the few times they can egg him and that he's not,
He secretly kind of loves it. Like
I think so
he's
too.
annoyed in the moment because he's trying to focus and get the interview done.
Yeah.
And he is a little bit like he doesn't always like to just be the spotlight. Um,
No, no.
so I get
That's
it.
segue. Talk about Shay's assists this week.
Yes.
I mean, he had so many opportunities that he could ISO that he swung it out. What are we looking at? 15?
Career high 15 assists on Monday night against Denver.
Yeah.
You know, in a game where he's clearly coming out trying to put his stamp on the MVP race
Mm-hmm.
and just defers. Like, okay, you're gonna bring the double. I'm getting it to the open shooter every time.
Yep.
And I think he was at like 9 assists by halftime already of that game
Yes.
and really waited for the points to come to him instead of, going out and trying to force the issue early.
I think it's just been such I know we continue to talk about the bench having these opportunities to come out and show and just work hard and contribute, but it's giving Shea an opportunity to show his trust in his teammates. He's gonna swing it to them if they've got a better shot or a better opportunity, and he's trusting them to try.
And even on a night like on the Denver game on Monday night, he got the 15 assists because the guys were making the shots.
Exactly.
But that didn't mean, that when the guys weren't making the shots last night against Boston, he still kept passing it to them for their open shots.
Yeah, he did.
Caruso had had a tough shooting night, yet towards the end of the game, a chance to win the game, Shea gets doubled, and instead of trying to force it himself, he sees Caruso open in the corner and still
Hmm.
had no qualms passing it to Caruso and saying, "Hey, you've got the better shot, you take it."
Hmm.
So his leadership and his trust in his teammates also very consistent along with his 20 plus points per game.
Yeah. Well, and also we're talking about his 20 plus points. Last night was his 38th game this season of over 30 points. So like his average is over 30, I
Yeah,
think.
he's at 31.6 points a game again or something.
Right. So,
He's about to become, I want to say, just the third player in NBA history to average 30 points a game for 4 straight seasons,
amazing.
and
I mean,
doing it on such efficiency. He
yes.
he just he makes he shoots over 55%. He's the only guard in the league that shoots over 50% like that. Because guards are typically taking shots from the mid range and from three,
Hmm.
so they typically have a shooting percentage. Even the best guards shoot like 48, 49% from the field. You only see numbers like 55% field goal percent out of guys like Jokic that are literally like shooting almost all of their shots right at the basket.
Right. Exactly. And he's out there all over the place. Now you see the elbow, those are great. His step backs are just so lovely.
Well,
And
and those 3-point step backs, that's a move that nobody can stop now.
no. No.
Like,
And it's
ooh,
so funny because like the other night, I swear it was the Denver. AJ, like there at the end, that last play, they got the ball into AJ where they had been expecting the ball to go to Shea. Shea got in position and they swung to him, and then that's when he hit his shot. And they're just putting him in the perfect position to make these gorgeous step backs.
I'm glad you said AJ. We got to come back to him for a second.
Oh, absolutely.
AJ Mitchell, first game back from being out since like early February, if I recall correctly. Like, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
First game back against Denver, big game, rivalry game. And he comes out and puts up like 24 points. Got to the free throw line more than Shea did that night. Was just driving to
Hmm.
the basket like perfectly, maneuvering through the lane, getting the calls, getting the buckets. I just can't say enough about what an extra weapon he's going to be in these playoffs. He barely played in the playoffs last year. He was on the roster, but he was like deep on the roster.
His impact this year is going to be crazy. Mark kept him in for 13 straight minutes on his first game back because he was hot.
Yeah.
Why would you take him out? Leave him in, let him go, let him run. And then he got the start last night, which was great.
Weird lineups last night.
Oh my gosh,
I
just bizarre.
the
Even
first the
Shay acknowledged that they've been having the weird lineups.
starting lineup was Kaysen, Dort, Shea, AJ, and Chet. So it was four guards and a center.
Yeah.
Like, and meanwhile, we're going up against a team that, they had some legit size inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jalen Brown's a forward, but he's a big forward. Like, he is
Mm-hmm.
somebody with some size. So I was a little bit concerned that, maybe without iHeart, we were going to have some tough sledding last night, but the team hung in there, did what they needed to do regardless of what team was out on the floor, and somehow these guys just keep putting it together and finding a way to get that W.
It was reminding me of back with the lineup of Chris Paul, Shea, and Dennis Schroeder when we
Yes.
had the multi-guard lineups out there, the three-headed monsters, and I was like, well, let's see what we can do with four.
I almost wonder if Mark wasn't being a little more experimental with the Celtics last night, knowing they only see them twice this season
Yeah,
and knowing they could be a potential finals matchup, to just start experimenting now.
yeah,
And that also has the added benefit of, Boston not necessarily knowing what we're going to throw at them because they didn't get to see like a normal kind of lineup we might roll out against just any other team.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I when I saw that, I was like, okay, Mark, let's see what we got here.
Interesting chess match stuff. I definitely think Mark looks long term like that at some of
Hmm.
these decisions, and it would not surprise me if there was some gamesmanship in the lineups he was rolling out.
No, that wouldn't surprise me either. But it's
Uh,
been fun for them to be home. They've actually had time to rest between games because there was only 3 games this week.
3 games, like 2 days in between each one, all at
And that's
home, so
given
no travel.
no. So they've got to do things in the community this week. They had their day of service where they were at the regional food bank and they were packing boxes. That Shay had a couple of different events where he presented, what was it, 100 laptops to kids at one event, and then another one was with AT&T, and T, and they gave out internet connections and things. Those are great. I know iHeart tonight is doing a fundraiser for his foundation tonight at one of the local pizza places. So they're taking the opportunity to really, not just rest at home, but actually, be seen out in the community and doing things, which is great because in January they were one down, one up, one down, like they had no time in
Yeah,
January.
January was nuts. Literally a game every other night, lots of travel in between. Yeah, this little stretch has been nice, I think, for the whole team. And that's why I'm not too worried about J-Dub still sitting. Let's just make sure he's fully ready before he comes back in.
No, completely. Because I mean, the playoffs, they're going to be so much more aggressive, especially going into these last 2.5 weeks of games.
Oh,
Or
another community thing that happened during this homestand is Jared McCain finally got to have his introductory tour that every player goes through in
oh, that's
Oklahoma City,
right.
and did his tour of the Oklahoma City National Memorial.
Nice.
So I did see some pictures emerge from his trip to the memorial, and he was signing a basketball that's on display there with all the players' signatures on it.
Oh, I love that.
So he
It's
got
such a priority.
fully inducted into being OKC.
That's fun. I saw a clip of him. He has that sponsorship with or the partnership with Sally Hansen for his nail polishes. And like he put a clip up the other day of him going to CVS. He's like, I'm here. I still don't have all my stuff. And so he just went and got all of the colors and just pulled the whole thing. He's like, I'm just gonna restock here. And I was like, perfect. There you go. And he's like, here's the cuticles, here, the cuticle formula.
Here's
Look at
my
that,
Sally
Sally
Hansen in
Hansen.
Thunder Blue.
Perfect. He grabbed those. I saw in his hands that he did have the blue and the orange and white. So, but it was just funny because you don't think about, these players that when they're traded, I mean, they don't get to pack their stuff.
It's
They're
like
I mean,
pack a go bag and go. Like,
right. And so they don't have their things. And while some people may say, oh, nail polish may not be a thing, but if that's part of, especially a player's routine, we've talked about players' routines and superstitions, they need their things.
yeah,
So it's interesting. It's just funny, but I'm so glad Jared McCain got his opportunity to do that and see that because the Thunder have made that such a priority.
yeah, and it tells me they really want to invest in McCain as well and try to keep him around. I think he's been a fantastic addition to this team.
Yeah.
He makes us that much deeper, that much stronger. Just another Isaiah Joe level shooter out there that we can go
Hmm.
to in these moments. He
True.
did have a tough shooting night last night against Boston, but good shooters have off nights sometimes. But
They do.
against Denver, he was amazing and really came in with some clutch three pointers. And he doesn't just shoot them like right at the 3 point line. He's shooting from like 4 and 5 feet back.
Yeah,
Like that
he is.
stretches the defense a lot, which opens up those driving lanes for AJ and for Shea. And once J Dub is back,
Hmm.
another guy that helps spread the floor for J Dub to be able to drive. So I'm
It's
feeling good
also
about where we're at.
it also is giving us a peek into potentially cap space, aprons, blah blah blah, where we'll be in 2 and 3 years. The
Hmm.
players that'll be on the court with the knock on wood, the Kaysen, the AJs, the Jared, where we will have these people that we have, fostered and brought up with, you know, diamonds in the rough that will be out there helping us get another championship in the future. Sam Presti and his future site, knock on wood. But it's just fun to see, growth in players. And
Yeah,
we've seen it with AJ, we've seen it with Kaysen. It'll be interesting to watch Jared. So, not to dismiss any of the other 37 on 34 on the roster, but it's fun to watch future happening. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we got another big game coming up this Sunday, an
yep.
afternoon game against the Timberwolves before we go out on another road trip. I believe next Saturday they play the Wizards in DC on the road.
I think
Next
so.
week,
The 21st, I
next
think.
week will be interesting. We'll get to see if they get invited to the White House or not, and if so, whether they go or not. So that's going to
We might
be
have the answer by the time we record next week.
we'll by the time we record next week, we'll know whether that's a thing or not. However you all might feel about it, I don't know. I know I have feelings.
Yes, we do have feelings.
I'm sure Shay and Lou have certain feelings.
Being Canadian.
Being Canadians, and it will be interesting to see what happens there. So that's probably the biggest thing to keep an eye on of like a weird storyline that could emerge next week. So we'll keep our eye on that. And otherwise, we got the Timberwolves on Sunday.
Yep.
Another potential playoff preview of a team we could run up against in the playoffs again. And
Yep.
yeah, that'll be interesting. The Wolves have not played great on these matinee games this year. They played at home against the Magic last Saturday on the 7th and got beat by 20 points in Minneapolis, which was really wild. They just looked like they were sluggish and just not ready for the game for whatever reason. And that's
Huh.
apparently been an issue for them all year on these noon starts. So something to keep an eye on. But the Thunder have had some kind of sluggish starts to the noon games too. So
I
yeah.
know when I've had some sluggish starts to the noon games,
So we'll
but
see,
it's worth it
how
when
that
you're there.
affects them. So anyway, I think that's it for this episode. We've probably kept y'all long enough. Hopefully,
Yeah.
y'all have had as much fun and laughed along with us. And smash that subscribe button.
Smash that button.
Give us all the 5-star ratings. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow this community because we are still, as far as I know, the only female led Thunder media out there. And, what we decided when we did this was rather than bitching about it, we decided let's just be the change we want to see. And here we are. So thank you for being part of the Thunder Gals fam.
Exactly. We are having so much fun, and we appreciate all of you along on the ride with us. So,
All right, y'all. Peace and thunder up.
bye.